Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us on your counselors today. It's amazing already. I want to believe that you'll be having a beautiful day and you are enjoying the evening already. Okay, today happens to be the second episode of Because I'm a Man, and we said that it is focused primarily on masculinity. It is focused primarily on manhood. We want to talk about everything that pertains to man and everything that pertains to masculinity and manhood. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you're joining us right now, I would like to know where you're joining us from. So you may want to just drop into the comment section where you are joining us from and also share this with your friends so that they get to enjoy what you are enjoying, right? Do not forget that if you have any question or you have any comment, you could also just drop it in the comment section. We felt that this topic was very important. This topic was necessary because we are seeing in today's situation where people are not understanding men, people are not getting men, people are unable to relate with men properly, right? People are able to understand what men are going through and the daily realities that come with that. So, thank you so much for joining me. I already have all of my guests. I already have two guests in studio, and I'll be adding them right away. Mr. Chooks, can you hear me?
Very well.
Good evening, sir,
Good
from this
evening.
part of the world.
Good
How are you doing?
evening. I'm very fine, thank you. How are you, sir?
Thank you. I'm fine. I'm good. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Before I talk with every other person, I would like to give this opportunity by asking you, sir, what was it that came to your mind when we contacted you with this topic? What was it? What was it that just came to your mind when you talk, oh, bachelorhood is no joke, and talking about everything?
First of all, I thank you for the opportunity.
You're welcome,
Um,
sir.
Emily CJ showed me the list of topics. I
Hmm.
told him these are deep topics, especially this. These are. It just shows that whoever put the topic together went through some form of critical thinking because there are certain questions that if you don't sit to evaluate, you cannot
Hmm.
take into retrospect what you are doing, where you are from, where you are, and where you are going to.
Hmm.
Because many young people now
Hmm.
are are very disadvantaged in that they don't have the kind of grooming that we had from our days. Everything you see
Yes.
now is more like microwave,
True.
and these are the kind of topics that will set the ball rolling for
Hmm.
people to think, people to think,
True. True.
because
True.
I've been able to see a lot of things online, and I've seen that the young people now, their thinking and their priorities are very different from us way back. So I believe that topics like this, amongst the other topics you've handled, even the one last week, because I sat down and watched the whole episode from last week. And I can tell you,
Wow.
I did
Wow.
actually, after watching episode from last week, I told CJ, I've watched almost 50 of your videos, you know,
Whoops.
I'm that thorough. And I can say that you are doing a good job. And
Thank you, sir.
if we can have more people like you, we would be able to shape the young people to be able to be a better version of themselves, because this thing is a process. Nobody has it all or know it all, but
True.
the whole idea is to be a better version of ourselves. Thank you.
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. And the fact that you went through to see all the videos, the last time's video, and going to see other videos shows
From two
your
years back.
commitment. Wow, wow. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I like I said earlier on was I just felt that see there's something wrong. We are not getting real men. There's something happening to masculinity. Like I see people who are raising sons, and I'm asking myself like, are these the kind of sons that our daughters we marry tomorrow? Are these the kind of men that will take over our communities? Are these the kind of men that will take over our nations? I'm like, no, 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 no. If we don't sit down and become and take this thing very seriously, we may not be able to handle this properly. Thank you so much, Mr. Chooks. I want to use this opportunity to say thank you, Dr. Tale Davidson, Chijoke. Thank you for coming, Mr. Eche. Did I get that pronunciation well? Okay, it's like Mr. Eche is not hearing me. And Emmanuel Ekpo, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, you
Thank
got
you,
it
thank
right.
you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm seeing Pastor Trips.
Oh,
Everybody.
thank
And
you. Okay, okay. Now before I go to I'll come to Mr. Davisi. But before I come to Mr. Davisi, I want to talk with Chijoke. Chijoke, you were with me when we were planning. We planned the topics together. We reviewed everything together before we started reaching out to guests to say, oh, how do we get to talk about this thing? Who will be best to join us in discussing this? Who will be best to join us in discussing that? When this particular topic was chosen, right? And bachelorhood is not a joke. What was it that came to your mind?
Well, the truth is that all the topics we're discussing this month, they are, I don't know, but they are quite, should I say, they are very amazing topics and serious issues. Oh, that was what came to my mind actually. These are serious matters, things we don't, regularly talk about. Yeah, they're not the kind of conversations you hear people talking about. It's not an everyday kind of conversation. It's a once in a while kind of conversation, and it is good. All of them. I mean, from last week to this week to the one we're going to talk about next week. So, excited, and I'm like, how did All Right even craft out all these things? Where did he get? So, I of course, I believe it's from your interactions with people,
Sure.
both as a
Sure.
counselor, as a lawyer, and of course as a man. Yes. So amazing topics, and of course, bachelorhood is a very serious matter. It's no joke, actually. People who are there right now, they can tell you that bachelorhood. See, Mr. Eche, he's a bachelor, a serious one. So I think he can tell us better.
No, before you put Eche on the spot, so that before you put Eche on the spot, of course, Tale Davison is also a bachelor. Emmanuel Ekpo is also a
Okay.
bachelor.
Hold on,
I was a bachelor successfully for 7 years. Somebody asked me
but then
why.
who is even a bachelor? I think we should even start from there now.
So
Who is a
yes,
bachelor?
yes. See, a bachelor is an adult male that is not yet married. Or
Yeah.
let's put it like that. Let's just use that generic adult male that is not yet married. Because somebody who does not even want to get married, would it be okay for us to say that person is a bachelor? Like a person who does not even want to get married. And there are people like that. So at least somebody asked me, how will I say I did bachelorhood successfully? And I did it successfully. I don't know. It was a successful journey and a successful experience for me. Most of the things I was supposed to learn, I learned them. Although most of the things I was supposed to achieve, I did not achieve it during that period. Because I did not understand how come I was a bachelor for 7 years and I did not get masters. I mean, it is not after getting married and having children that I started doing my masters, right? And there are some other things are like, when I was a bachelor, how come I not handle these things and just work on these things? So, Dr. Tale Davison, how is Abuja?
Abuja is great. Am I audible, please? Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, I
Very,
can
very
hear you.
loud.
Awesome. So yeah, Abuja is fine. It's calm over here. There's just some very slight tension in the air, as it should be because of the situation of the economy. But we're fine. We're good.
Of course, Emmanuel Ekpo is also joining us from Abuja. So, Dr. Tale Davidson, what was it that came to your mind when we brought you this topic? I hope you did not feel like it was your village people that was coming after you.
I was just about to say that you are actually my village people. You know that. All right, has known me for decades, so I can categorically put him in my village people section. But I mean, I knew that we both have mutual respect for each other. So if you're asking me to come to this, I feel that came from a place of love, and why not? If not, if I can lend my voice, perhaps there might be someone who will watch this and just hear something from me and just be encouraged, or get inspiration, or get redirection. So I'm happy to do this. I did feel some type of way. I'm good.
So great, thank you so much, Mr. Eche. How about you? What was it like for you when you got the topic?
Okay, hello everyone. All right, thank you for having me here. Can everybody hear me?
Loud and clear,
I'm
we
afraid for
can.
my network.
Yeah, you.
Okay, thank God. I wish Chijoke was here. Okay, he's back on, so he can attest to my response when I saw the topic. Bachelorhood is no joke. I said, okay, I'm not a bachelor. I'm not yet married, but I'm married to Jesus. And then he started to laugh. You know, I said, what exactly is this topic about? Please, when I want to bring my leg out there, what do you really want from me? You know? And then we talked and talked. After talking, I was sending him another message. I was like, okay, you didn't tell me this part of the whole thing. Please, can I ask another question? When you say bachelor, what exactly are they going to be asking? Are they going to be prying into our private life? And then he gets to tell me that, oh, we need to help some people. Like you, I heard you say from the beginning that you've done these things successfully. So it tells us that there is a successful way to actually be a bachelor. There are things to avoid and things to do while we are in that season. So I said, okay, let's come around and have the discussion with every other person. So I'm glad to be here.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that, Emmanuel Ekpo, my guy. About the thing about it is that I'm meeting Chooks and Eche for the very first time this evening. Like
Oh wow.
we start this evening, but somebody like Davison, I have known Davison since maybe when I was 7, 8 years old. All right, we were once even seatmates in secondary school, and till today we are still good friends. I have known Chijoke from our NYC days, so I'm talking about 2012, 2013, thereabout. And I've also known Ekpo from around that same time. In fact, Ekpo and I, we once shared the same desk in the same office. So to a large extent, I think I get to see it like so. Mr. Ekpo, you are a fine boy. You are a music director. You are a recording artist, and the rest. What was it like for you when me? Because it's like some of you used to avoid me, thinking that I'm coming after your romantic life. But what was it like when you saw that topic from me?
All right. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, brothers. It's nice to meet everyone, and I believe everybody can hear me, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. So, all right. Thank you for having me on this, and I'm honored. And yes, I was wondering, why is it coming from me? Why is it coming from me? Why is it coming from me? And all of that. So yes, a lot of thoughts ran through my mind, just like what HS said, and about to pry into our lives, like what's actually going on in our lives. Are we supposed to? Is it the time to really put all of us out there right now? We're gonna be out there and all of that. But at the end of the day, right? The question is, are we gonna be able to give help when help is needed? The answer is yes. Should we give help where help is needed? Yes. Are we privileged to be called upon to speak, to have conversations in this direction? Yes, I see it more as a privilege. I see it more as an honor to do this, because I believe there are a lot of bachelors out there doing better. than myself. As per they'll probably have better things to say or more wisdom to give. And at the end, I just saw it as a, a privilege to contribute my little quota to
Yeah.
making another man's life better, to making another bachelor's life better. And so with that, I'm very honored. God bless you. Thank you. I finished. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Okay. The thing about it is that why this was not to put you people out there, but of course, you people are in that phase right now. So apart from Chijoke, Mr. Chooks, and I that are already married. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, we
Yes,
can
I can
hear
hear
you.
you.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
great. Great. So I was saying that apart from Chijoke and Mr. Chooks and I who are married, we have three other people who are unmarried because some
Oh, network.
He'll be back.
I think All Right Network is giving issues tonight.
Yeah, he'll be back. We'll wait for him.
Okay.
yes, I'm already back. I just switched network. I just switched
Okay.
network and the rest. So the Nigeria factor. In fact, there's somebody that is supposed to join us right now. Souls is supposed to join us from Makodi, and he called and said he was having network issues. And I looked at him and laughed and said, well, before I go live, I sometimes have 4 network options. So that if Nigeria factor is happening to this one, I will switch. If weather is happening to this one, I will switch. And the rest for us to be able to just keep up. So it's not to put you guys out there. It's just for us to actually gist. And that's why I'll be coming to Mr. Chooks right now, right? It's for us to gist and interact and talk to other people who are bachelors right now who may not be doing it well. And the reason why we contacted you guys is because we know that you guys are doing it well. Like you are maximizing that phase. You are exploring, you are taking advantage of this particular stage you are in. You are not just in this stage and you are whiling away time and you are losing time and all of that, right? So that was why we brought people. And of course, if any person wants to shoot shots at you, I will not say no. They have your full name, they have your email addresses, they have your other social media accounts. If they want to shoot their shot, they should shoot their shot. If they ask me for bullets, I will give them bullets. You know me. I will not hide my own and the rest. So, Mr. Chooks, I would like to ask Mr. Chooks, back to you. What are the challenges you faced as a bachelor that you know other men right now, or the challenges other men are facing right now, and you would like to just give them an advice on how to handle that particular thing?
Okay, thank you very much once again. And good morning, every other person. Um, as a bachelor, there are several challenges that actually come to play, depending on your upbringing and depending on how you see life and go through life. An example for my case now, I didn't have the burden of having to train some of my younger ones, but my siblings, sorry, my father had that burden. Before he got married, he had to make sure after his father died, he trained all his siblings before getting married. And 2 of the siblings he was even training got married and kept meeting him for dependence before he got married. So I have cousins that are from his younger brothers who are 4 or 5 years older than me. So my point on bachelorhood is you have to. One of the challenges I faced majorly was wanting to make sure that everything was secured financially before getting married. Had everything together that concerned me because I believe with Bible scriptures that a woman is supposed to come and be a helpmeet, you know, and I felt things had to be in place for her to come and help because if your life is disjointed and you just bring a woman in, you will just complicate matters, you know. And statistically, it has been shown that amongst the three major issues that has to do
Mm,
with marriage, one of them is
yes.
finance, another
Mm,
one is communication, then the third one is in-laws. These are the three major issues you have um, in marriage. And if you can handle finance majorly and communication, believe me, you've handled 75% of the problem, if not close to 85% of the problem. So I wanted those things to be on ground and be intact before I talked about marriage. But in hindsight,
yes.
I discovered now that it shouldn't always be the case. There are some basics that should be there, but at the
True.
same time, everything doesn't necessarily have to be there because
Yeah.
it's a building phase. You build on precepts, you build on what you have. If you are waiting for everything to be together, it might never be together. But I believe strongly that as a bachelor, if there is one thing or two things you should have at the back of your mind that you need to put into practice before leaving that stage of bachelorhood. Number one is critical thinking and evaluation. So you make a plan for your life, you critique it, you go through it, and at every stage you take retrospect of where you are. You bring into perspective, what am I doing wrong? What have I done right? What do I need to change? And a second issue, finally, is I'll let other people speak, that
Yeah.
I had as a bachelor was thinking of how to pick the right partner to settle down. Because you are looking at a lady and she's together, she's looking all wonderful, but upstairs, nothing much there. I'm the kind of man that even though the physical approach is physical outlook is important, the
Yeah.
intellectual the intellectual part is even more important for me.
True.
I have let me not say I had a very low threshold for stupidity. If you cannot coordinate yourself, believe, oh my God, I'm already off. I'm already off. You know, so I needed someone that if I'm speaking on one frequency, you are not far away, you know,
Mm,
goofed. But at the same time, I knew that for me to attract such a person, you also need to be a kind of person
true.
because at the end of
True.
the day, you only attract who you are.
That's true. That's
So
true.
for now, let me leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Okay, now I want to come to souls, right? And NFL souls. Thank you so much. How is the city of Makodi today? Are you sure you
I
are
think
not
it's
muted?
muted.
It's like you are muted. Check your screen. It's like you are muted. So it's like unmute yourself. We cannot hear you. Kindly unmute yourself, please. Okay, why he's working on muting himself and the rest. Mr. Eche, I would like to ask, what is the biggest challenge you have faced in this particular period as a bachelor? What is the challenges that you have faced? Like, because we know that people get to say he's single now, right? Apart from that, what are the challenges you may have faced in this season, and how have you been able to handle it?
Okay. I was really carried away with what Mr. Chooks was saying, I think I'm getting into the whole gist. And if you see me smile like this, it means I'm enjoying myself too much. Um, yes, I am actually. And I'm also trying to balance it with the seriousness of the subject being discussed at the moment. Okay. Um, it's actually a serious one because hearing Mr. Chooks talk, the decisions that we make as
Yeah.
bachelors have a lot to do with our future and the future of those that are going to come after us. Okay, I'm talking about our children, the woman we're going to marry. It's going to really define our lives. So it's a very careful subject, however, just like it sounds. So concerning challenges that I have personally faced as a bachelor, of course, there are a couple of them. If we categorize them, and if we're going to just come out with it, we'll categorize them under the pressure from those who are married. I don't know. There's a particular pressure they give to you. I have a friend here, and he knows what I'm talking about. Is okay? They feel like the moment they got married, every other person is either now irresponsible, or they don't know what to do with money, or bring that money. What are you taking care of? We have a family to take care of now, and and I belong to a community of people who left, right, and center, they are saying the same thing. They're like, let all the bachelors, when I was a bachelor, I used to carry on this project. I didn't have anything I was taking care of. And and I would tell some of them, look, Mr. Troops was very correct. He made an illustration and he said that some people had the privilege of not taking care of maybe their brothers and their siblings, while others have sometimes even much more responsibilities than the married folks. Fortunately or unfortunately, I consider it a fortunate, occurrence, a privilege to have certain responsibilities in that line. Okay, but then the problem now is people from the outside never see it, so they are always on your matter, and so you can't explain. They say no evidence, so you explain tire. Is that not what is trending? So we're having to explain about our, how we handle our finances. For someone like me, I'm very sensitive, and I really want to make all the demands that are placed on me, and I hate to give excuses. So when financial
Mm.
demands come, however they come, I want to be able to sort them out. So what it does for me is that it causes me to go out of my way. I'm looking for ways to, make
To
all the
then prove
ends
yourself,
meet.
to then do things and
Exactly, exactly. So that's a big
so
challenge, to be very frank. To be very
and let's
frank,
look
it
at
can pose a challenge.
let's let's look at it this way. So before that, I will come to. I want Ekpo and Davidson to respond to this, right? And that's something HA has raised. The mindset that people have that what are you spending your money on? Of course, you are single now, so you should be able to do this. And in fact, people think that you should have more time. And for family functions and family things, they think that you should have more energy and you should be more or less like the errand boy among the circle of people that are married. Like
Very
now that
correct.
I'm married, I'm senior to you people. I know you people will know how to agree, but but
Please,
how is it like?
just before we throw it open, I want to also just raise another one so that we can all discuss it together. It's after the
Mm,
financial part, there is also the sexual part. Since we have our viewers listening and a lot more people,
mhm.
it's important to address that topic as well. So please, you can carry on, but we'll also get into that.
Before Davidson or Ekpo jumps on it, I want to check if we can hear Souls. Souls, are you there?
I think he was saying he has some challenges with his microphone.
Yeah, he said he wrote that in the chat
He
box.
wrote
Oh,
that in the
oh,
chat box.
oh, great.
Yeah.
You could just use your regular earpiece or remove the earpiece completely. Can remove the earpiece completely and you will be able to just use directly. Have you removed your earpiece directly completely,
I
sir?
think he has. I think he has to unmute. He's not unmuted yet. He needs to unmute his mic.
Unmute, please.
Okay.
Oh, I actually want to hear souls because we were bachelors together, and I remember when I would want to go and I want to go and visit my baby Makodi. Then his house used to be the place where I would go to and stay to visit my baby until he got married. Even after married, even by time after he was married and I was to do my introduction, I still went to his place again and rest. So can we hear you now, sir? Can you try saying something?
Okay. I don't know whether you can hear me now.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. Thank you. So great. So we'll come back to you. We'll come back to you since we are sure we can hear you now. Davidson and Ekpo.
All right.
What do people have to say regarding what is already up?
So Mr. Davidson can go first, please.
All right, that's fine. That's fine. For me, I would like to come from another angle. Beyond the external pressure, for me, it's more like an internal alarm, an internal pressure. Maybe because of how I'm wired or how I've trained myself, I try not to allow exterior or external pressure to get to me. I understand. I have a very good understanding that every single person have their customized lane in life. So I try not to look at someone who's in lane 6. Look at the way running track lanes are crafted. You see that the person in lane 1 is a little bit, back, and then the one in lane 2 is forward, the one in lane 3 just like that. But imagine lane 1 trying to say, oh, lane 6 is forward. He doesn't know that lane 6 even has more work, having to go around from the outer curve, and he has, a simpler curve to go through. So I understand that every single one of us have our unique lane. So I try as much as possible, even though it is there. I won't deny that the pressure is there externally, but it doesn't get to me so much. The one that really gets to me is the internal pressure, the one I have set for myself, the aspirations I have set for myself, the goals I have set for myself, the things I told myself, my younger self, the things my younger self told my younger self that I am going to accomplish at certain ages. That's the pressure that gets to me. And it's a serious challenge because most times I am one that likes to do review of my life. My birthday is coming. Most times, probably like everyone else, we do reviews of our own life. We try to find out, okay, what did I say I'm going to achieve that I have not achieved, or that I have achieved, I need to improve, or I need to get better on. So it's always that internal alarm to say, oh, you said you were going to do this by this time, you're going to get married by this time, you're going to have your first child by this time, your first child is going to start school by this time, you're going to open a fund for your child by this time. I have all those things mapped out by the grace of God. And it is that those aspirations and those goals that put me on my toes, that give me that pressure. So it's not coming from outside. Yeah, all right, can terrorize me as much as you want. He knows he does that. But I take it in good faith. He's my friend and my brother, always looking out for me. But it doesn't get to me, honestly, as much as the one that I have set for myself. So, but I'm learning more and more to trust in God and to take life not just as it is, but as God is inspiring me to take it one day at a time. Right? I am not desperate, neither am I overwhelmed by my situation. Though those phases happen here and now, I find myself in such situations here and now where I'm just emotionally overwhelmed. But on looking at the greater good, I think that everything eventually works for my good. And just to answer your question again, to wrap my response up, the biggest challenge that I have being a bachelor currently is the fact that I have set goals for myself and they keep staring at me in the face. But yeah, we're working on it, and pretty much soon you're probably going to just see pictures. Last week, Charlie wedded the love of his life. not an invitation to the wedding. You see pictures of the wedding, maybe. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Davidson. Thank you, Eche. Really appreciate. Thank you, everybody. Now, I like to say it like this. Now, these challenges they do exist. All right. The challenge of pressure, and closely connected to the challenge of pressure is the challenge of perception. All right. The challenge of perception. People perceive you in different ways. People have different thoughts about you and all of that. And so I'm not about to even talk about the challenges right now, because the question is, how am I supposed to respond? Or how are we, or how are you as a bachelor supposed to respond? Now, you must first understand something, or we bachelors must first understand something, that no one necessarily, all right, nobody knows how much you make. Nobody knows all the things you are dealing with. Nobody knows how much strength you have to put on every day to come out, to stand out, to do what you need to do. No one knows all the other challenges you need to go through. Nobody knows, aside the marriage vision, if you have that marriage goal, no one knows other visions and other goals that you have set for yourself that you need to achieve. So, starting from there first, once you know that these people don't necessarily know everything you're dealing with and all the things you have to sort out in your life. Yes, marriage is important, especially if you're the type that you know you really want to get married. You know you're not an eunuch. Jesus says some people are born eunuchs, some people are made eunuchs, and some people make themselves eunuchs. So if you're not in this category and you have a desire to get married, well, bless God. Now, but you must understand that aside this marriage vision or goal, there are other things you are trying to achieve. There are other things these bachelors are trying to achieve. All right. And so, what's the best thing to do as a bachelor? Refuse to accept and take on that pressure. That's where it starts from. Just refuse to accept and take on that pressure, because with that pressure comes the fear of failure. With that pressure comes the fear of many things. So refuse to accept and take on that pressure on yourself. And my next response will be, take everything one day at a time, one step at a time, as led by the Spirit of God. Ensure you are not lazy. Ensure you are able to smash the goals you are able to smash. The ones you're not able to smash, you set them again. Check out what you're not doing right and go for them again. Yes, you have to focus your energy not on the pressure, but on the things you need to achieve, pending when marriage happens. Because whether you like it or not, if you do things well, even after you get married, there's going to be the pressure of, why have you not had children? There's going to be the pressure, okay, you had children now. Children have come. There's going to be the pressure of, why is he not a boy? Oh, you have too many boys. You have too many boys. When will you give us a girl? Oh, or you have too many girls. When will you give us a boy? So the pressure really, really, really is never really over like that. So you want to start out by refusing to take on that pressure. Refusing to take on that pressure. Number one, the time of your life. The Bible talks about the fact that our times are in his hands. All right, our times are in his hands. The timing of your life is not really in your hand, as it were. All right, you cannot really say for a shorty how many years you're going to end up in that sense, except of course, you're making fake confessions and all of that. You cannot tell what's going to happen in the next 5 years, practically. You cannot tell what's going to happen in the next 2 hours from now. And so a lot of things are not really within your power. Stay with what is within your power, all right? And those things that are beyond your control, leave them. Ensure you take your goals one step at a time. Don't forget where I started from. Everyone pressuring you right now does not know all the other things you are dealing with. Everyone pressuring you right now has no idea of the things you have to deal with, other goals, other visions, other things you need to smash. All right. And so you cannot allow the pressure from these people come on you. You cannot take on that kind of pressure, because even with that right now, ensuring running into marriage with such pressure guarantees you're going to make the wrong choice. You're going to make the wrong choice, because you are rushing to get this done so that you can get them off your back, so that they can stop pressuring me. So you're rushing to get this done. So in a nutshell, what I'm saying is, number one, refuse to take on all that pressure. You are not Jesus. Refuse to take on all that pressure. You don't have all the answers. refuse to take on all that pressure. Secondly, focus on other areas, other visions, all right? Pending when marriage happens. Focus on other things. Put your energy into other productive things. In fact, have you even asked yourself, have you even discovered who you really are? You can't talk about marriage. You cannot know who to carry along when you don't even know where you are going to. Some people don't know, they don't even know their purpose in life.
You know,
there are a lot of things to deal with. Okay, I think I've stopped right here.
thank you, David, and thank you, Ekpo, for that. Right, and you know, most of the time, people just think about it that, oh, maybe it is just the marriage team. So I want to talk to Enefola. I'll talk to Enefola, Chijoke, and Chooks, and Mr. Chooks. Then I'll come back to Davidson, Emmanuel, and Eche, right? So, okay, now let me first of all disturb these three men. Like, we married now, we have families, right? So, souls, for you, was it like, what's the difference in your reality between when you were single and now that you're married and you have your family?
Okay. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Can you all hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay. The difference is that, okay, you know, when you were single or when you were a bachelor, you had a lot of advantages and disadvantages that you were enjoying in quote. Okay, now some of the things that as a bachelor they will tell you that they have time for themselves, they are independent, they they have time to think, they have space, they have no sense of being committed to any other person.
Yeah.
Okay, but now as you are married, you are no longer independent again. You have family to take care of, you have kids, you have your wife's needs, you have your extended family needs to take care of, your in-laws, your own parents to take care of. Okay, now you don't have that time that you think you have. You don't have the freedom that gives you time to do whatever you want to think. Everything that you are thinking about is for the welfare of your immediate family.
I see.
That's for
Sorry
your
to
wife
interrupt you there.
and
Sorry,
for your
sorry to
kids.
hook you there. I see told somebody today that
Okay,
I have a speaking engagement on Saturday.
okay.
That if it was those days that I was a bachelor, I would have traveled on Friday, attended to the speaking engagement on Saturday, still stay back to chill till on Sunday before I start returning back to Ibadan. But now that I have a family, I will leave Ibadan that day and come back that same day. And the person was like, I
Yes.
have a family. I cannot just leave my wife and kids. So, yes, there's also that part. Yes, you may continue, sir.
Okay. That is for the independent life. You don't have it again. You cannot travel as you said you need to travel. You cannot have parties, cannot have hangout with the guys anymore, because anytime you are thinking about hanging out with the guys, you think about your own family. You need to come back home to pray for them. Your
Mm.
kids need to see your face every evening before they sleep
Before they
off
sleep.
and the rest. Yes, all those hanging out with the guys stops. Like for those that have
You
social
don't have your
lives,
life to yourself
clubbing and the
anymore.
rest, you don't have a life to yourself. Even when you are at home, that you want to stay alone, you see the kids
I'm
jumping on
telling
your
you.
back, trying to they just drag you out of your own
Oh
comfort
my
zone. So you just
god.
need to play with them.
Okay, but let me
Like
ask you this.
earlier today.
Let me ask you this. And once I ask you that
Okay.
question, that's the same question I will ask Chijoke, and I'll talk with Mr. Chooks. What are those
Okay.
things that sometimes you just remember and you're like, I wish I had done this when I was a bachelor?
Uh, okay. There are a lot of things. Those are the disadvantage of bachelorhood actually. Okay, there are a lot of things that I wish I would have done it. Bachelorhood had disadvantages. You know,
Yeah.
they are like, for example, how I wish I had finished my career before I got married. That's one of my own disadvantage. Okay, I'm from the academia.
Mm,
I'm a clinical dietitian also by practice,
mm,
licensed dietitian. I would have wished that I had done till my PhD level before I got married.
mm,
Why?
mm,
Because right now you want to concentrate on reading, you can't, except you are not with the family. Maybe you go elsewhere, you go to
mm.
school elsewhere. But if you are here in the house, you have bills to pay, you have school
True,
fees,
true.
and once you want to when you want to pay your own bill, you start
Mhm.
remembering your child's bill.
I'm
So you
telling
start
you.
cutting down on your own cost. The books that you are supposed to, the journals, the papers that I'm supposed to write, I can't write as much as I did when I was a
And
bachelor.
how long
As
were
a
you a bachelor? How long were you a bachelor? Like try to remember from
I was a
NYC to when you get married.
NYC 2007 till 2015. That's
That's
almost like 7 8 years
that's 7 8 years.
from
So
NYC. Yes.
you were enjoying singlehood.
I was enjoying single. I could just wake up and just jump in my car and just move to anywhere I want to go. I remember when I was a bachelor, I could just travel. All right, I'm going out. I will stay till 6 p.m. and we are going to Kogi. We'll stay till 7 p.m. We are going to Abuja from Makodi. So all those, like, I can't do it again.
Yeah.
I can't.
So what
So
you
as
what I get from what you have shared now is that for those who are bachelors right now, let us see as it's just the same thing that HA did.
I think what I'm saying is just push on your life goals as much as you can before you get married.
Mhm.
That's the point I'm trying to make. Anything you
Yes,
want to do,
I
if it
get.
is any career you are trying to move, just push it until you reach a certain level before you will settle down and get married. Thank you. All right, you can take over.
Okay, Mr. Chijoke, over to you, sir.
Okay, so for me, there's just a whole lot
In
I'm
fact,
not
I'm
trying
I'm
to.
even leaving the microphone to you. I'm leaving it to you because yes, Chijoke is my co-host throughout the month of August, and throughout the
Right?
month of August, we are discussing different topics, right? So last week we talked about am I a real man,
Am
right?
I a
We
real
focus
man?
on
Yes.
yes, we focus on am I a real man. We looked at this, if you are a real man. Today we are talking about bachelorhood is not a joke. Next week we are talking about newly married men,
Really married
right?
man.
So we are looking at all the different phases of masculinity and manhood.
Mm.
So next week we are going to be focusing on newly married men, like those who are just getting married 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. What are
5 years.
those things that they are actually facing after newly married men? We are going to talk about first time dads, people who are becoming parents for the first time, like how it changes the dynamics of your masculinity. After first time dads, we are going to talk about how to prepare for old age. We are seeing situations right now. My professor was telling me that people are attacking counseling psychologists right now, and what's the attack is the fact that we are preached monogamy a lot, that people in their old age are no longer having women to take care of them because these women now go off with the children in the name of Omugo, and they just abandon and they
All the
abandon the
names,
man,
right?
right? That if it was those days, men had 2 wives, 3 wives. So if
Options,
one
several
goes,
options.
there will see another one to take care of them. So these are all the issues we are going to talk about. And Chijoke is my co-host. So Mr. Chijoke,
Yeah.
over to you.
Okay, so like I said, thank you so much. All right, thank you guys. Every speaker has spoken so well, so well. So I'm just going to say that. Let me just take it off from where Mr. Soul stopped. So he was talking about pursuing your career and achieving the things you want to achieve to a certain level before getting into marriage. But for me, I don't think there's any rule to that. I don't think there's any rule, any particular rule. It works, in different ways for different persons. It works different for different persons. So for some persons, I know people that didn't really achieve so much, as bachelors. They were just nonchalant, living their lives, and then they got into marriage and then saw the need to push certain things, and they are pushing really well. So I think it's just relative. It depends on you and the situations around you. Because I know a lot of persons who are single today, they are still bachelors. In short, they are now manchelors. They are bachelors and manchelors. We need to we need to actually differentiate the two of them. There are people who are actually manchelors. They've been in this thing for years. Probably wanting to gather all the money in the world or do all the things they have to do, get to the peak of their career and all of that before getting married. So those ones are manchellos. Another of fact, here in Nigeria, for example, if you are 30, 35 and above, you are considered a manchello. And then you are now 40. That one is maybe papachello or something. So what I'm just trying to say is I think knowing when you should settle is very, very key. So for someone like me, when I finished, or before I even finished uni, I told myself I was going to get married in 2017, right? So that was my plan. So I had a plan that 2017 latest, I'll be married and I'll settle. But by 2017, okay, so around that time, I even had a relationship and that was led to marriage, but it didn't work. And I got married 3 years after, so I got married in 2020. And I'm glad I did not get married at that age in 2017. I am glad I did not, trust me, because if I had, that marriage would have probably crashed now. Because I had everything. I had everything in a sense. I was financially comfortable. I had a business. I was thriving. I knew what I wanted for myself. I had some level of confidence, but I wasn't number one mentally prepared for it. Then number two, there were some personal deficiencies, some things but I didn't know that those things were deficiencies until I took those 3 years off to mature some more. And then I look back and I realized that if I had done this in 2017, probably it would have crashed, or I would have struggled through the first 3 to 5 years. So I'm just saying that when it comes to this whole marriage thing and knowing when to get married, just like the bachelors here said, I think Mr. Davidson said it and Mr. Emmanuel said it. Don't allow people pressure you. Know when you are ready for this thing and go into it. Nobody should pressure nobody, because, like you said, Emmanuel, if they pressure you into it, they won't be there when you are going through all the things, when you are paying the bills and doing all the things, going through all the. Because marriage comes with its own kind. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful marriage.
The thing for me. It's for me is something that Mr. Chooks said. Okay, I remember when Mr. Chooks was saying that souls had not yet come in, right? Because Mr. Chooks tried to actually break it down for us, give us the dynamics of things that can slow one person down and also maybe hasten another person when he shared the experiences of his father, right? His father had to, his father had other younger ones that he was taking care of, and he had to do all of that. The good thing about it is that apart from Chooks and Eche, I have known the rest of you as bachelors. Apart from Mr. Chooks and Eche, the rest of you, I know you Chijoke as a bachelor. I know Enefola Souls as a bachelor. We're all bachelors together, right? And the rest. And there's something I want to say to corroborate what Chooks said before I'll ask you the question that I want to ask right now. Is that
all right, before you do that, please let me say something. Though. There's one matter we need to treat in this conversation, and it's the issue of sexual urges. That's one matter that we have not really talked about. So we need to talk about it. How Konji is a real issue.
I will come to the bachelor guys. I'll come to the bachelor guys. It's the question I even want to ask Mr. Chooks.
We have a few more minutes to go, so
that's true.
Want us to skip that matter. It's a very serious matter.
That's true, Mr. Chooks. So I would like to ask. Let me start from Mr. Chooks. Then, as you guys appear on my screen, I will go round. So Mr. Chooks, Davidson, Eche, Emmanuel, Enefola, Chijoke, right? So the way people are appearing on my screen, that's how I'll go. So Mr. Chooks, sir, when you were a bachelor and right now that you are married, there's this mindset that people just have that once you get married like this, all the sex that you have missed in life,
exactly,
and all the sex you could ever want, you will have it when you want to have it, how you want to have it, the corner and the shape and the style. So, sir, I would like to ask, sir, as someone who has been a bachelor before and someone who is married right now, what is your response to that?
Okay, thank you very much. I would just like to briefly touch on what Davison, Emmanuel Ekpo, and Echad said as regarding pressure in bachelorhood. And I believe strongly that it's important, as I said before, that as a bachelor, critical thinking is something that has to be put into retrospect and evaluation of how far you have come at every stage of your life. Because El Nightingale said something that success is the worthy pursuit or is the realization of a worthy pursuit. So you might have a notion that I want to be at this stage at this also time. You might not be there, but the fact that you are making a steady pursuit, a steady progress, steady climbing towards that goal, you are a successful person. So if you give yourself to the understanding that you are making gradual progress, you would not be able to beat yourself too much. That's number one. Number two, I believe strongly also that as a bachelor, like I'm a highly spiritual person. Some other people they might not be. I knew through the place of prayer and through the place of dealing with mentors, I knew what I wanted for myself as a bachelor and 20 years into my marriage. How I was going to get to that destination, I did not know. But I just knew that there are certain things I had to put in place. And I could relate with my fellow speaker that said him being in academia, he advises people to chase what they wanted, and I told myself that before I got married, that the first 10 years of my marriage, I was not going to pursue anything academics. I planned that out myself because I know that when you enter marriage, if God blesses you with children initially and you having to settle down and you having to train kids, that first stage, buying pampers, buying milk, buying Cerelac, it's a lot. And unless you are doing very well, it's difficult to carry academics or carry another major project at the same time with that, because having to do another degree is like having another child on its own. So I told myself for the first 10 years of marriage, I would not face that. At the next phase, I would do that. Presently now, I'm in Australia. I'd always known I would be in Australia since 2002. But when I would be in Australia, I did not know. When I told my wife that when we got married, things were not financially rosy. When I told her we were going to buy an SUV, if you see the way she laughed me to scorn, she was like, from where to where? Let us finish trekking before we talk of buying a car. But 6 months down the line, we got that vehicle. So what I'm trying to say is that as a bachelor, you have to set your goals, make plans, but also understand that once you are in the right direction, do not let external pressure or internal pressure make you feel as if you're a failure. Now, to sex in as a bachelor, I believe strongly that the notion of if I get married, oh God, I will shift that womb. I will do this. Is in the mind. Is in the mind. Believe me, after
See the way Chijioke just laugh.
is in the mind. I will not say sex in marriage is overrated, but I would be honest with you. You need to know who you are getting married to, because you might be a very sexually active guy. If you marry a lady that is ice water, believe me, when you come without your fire, she will pour ice water on you and you will calm down. And you cannot say because she's not giving it to you as frequently as you want to now go outside and do makeup class to complete the rest that you are not getting. that's a recipe for disaster in your marriage. So as a bachelor, I believe strongly that because you've not seen exactly who you want to get married to, because you don't know who you exactly want to get married to, it is important that you try and not just for that reason alone, but you try and not just give in to sexual urges like that. Because I believe strongly that when the body is when the body is single, when you are single, your whole being will be full of light. And I'm not trying to just be spiritual, because sexual urge as a bachelor is real. And you will see some people that if you are not the one looking for it, the thing will look for you. But the ability for you to be able to set boundaries is one thing that will help you, because one of my pastors used to say, no matter how sexually aroused you are and you want to have sex with a lady, if a 7-year-old just enters inside the room, that whole sexual drive madness will just lift, because obviously those things thrive in secrecy. So I'll just stop
Ooh,
here so other people can speak.
yes, thank you, sir, because of the time too,
Yes.
and we promise everyone 1 hour. But then before I come back to the bachelor, so that they can also advise themselves, right? Talk to fellow bachelors about the reality, to also so that these people know that, see, they are not alone, and there are other people who are in this, and these people are doing well. I would like to ask Souls, then Souls to Chijoke, from Chijoke, then I'll come back to my bachelor. Souls, what is it like for you? Right, the sex part in marriage, was it like as it was marketed to you as a bachelor?
Hello. I will say
Yes.
everybody, the mindset that you have before you
Mm,
marry is that when you are married, you have your wife to yourself, you have sex 24 hours,
mm,
however you want it. But I tell you, the truth about it is that if you have a purpose that you are pursuing,
mm,
sex is supposed to be a bonding factor for you to
mm,
achieve that purpose.
mhm,
Sex is not like the main thing in marriage,
mhm,
okay?
mm.
But a lot of people they think that when they get into marriage they have sex. I tell you, just 1 week of having that sex that you think that you have, you are done. Your wife can be stark naked and you won't even have an erection again after 1 week, because what, you have seen it all. If it's sex, had sex.
Mm,
So but what keeps you after is, what are you trying to achieve with this woman? What is the
true.
god-given factor that has given you? What lives are you trying to save together with this woman? How is she helping you to meet those things? It's not
Mm,
just sex alone.
mm.
I think
Thank you
I
so
have to
much.
stop here,
Thank you
but for
so
the
much.
all right,
Yes,
all right.
you wanted to say something?
No. I wanted to just add for the bachelors that they think
Mm.
that, well, we will welcome them into the marriage after 1 week, and they will have we'll have this discussion, the part two of this discussion again. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Chijoke, what is it like for you? Was sex overhyped?
Well, for me, I felt it was though, and even as a bachelor, yes,
Mm,
because of course, I grew up as a church boy, so for years, I got to a point I was like, this thing that everybody's just talking about. You open internet, you see it. You go to TV, you see it. Everybody's talking
mm,
about it. House, let me even go and try and see what it's
mm.
like. 2 years before I got married, 3 years before I got married, I said, let me even try this and see what it's like, and I actually did, and it was a beautiful thing. It was a beautiful thing, and then at some point it was almost becoming a habit. Okay, so this thing, and the reason why it was beautiful for me was because the girls would come, would stay, they would go, and then when they leave, after some time, the person comes back or somebody else comes, and then they leave. And in that period that they leave, the whole thing just comes on you again, and then somebody else comes. So when I got married, I thought it was going to be like that. I thought it was going to be that, that kind of experience. But it was a totally different experience, because right now this woman is not living with you in the same house, 24 hours, 7 days. She is now a part of your every minute, every second life. So there are days where you wake up and you're not in the mood for it. You don't feel like it. Probably have had enough of it. And then she's coming to ask for it. And you have to. So in marriage, it gets to a point where sex is, not even it gets to a point. At different times, sex will be an obligation that you owe your spouse, that you owe.
Am I the one cutting, or it is
wife.
Chijoke?
As a bachelor
Okay.
who is already sexually, I'm here, I'm back. So as a bachelor who is sexually active already, it might not be an obligation for you. It might just you get it when you want it. When the country comes, you call your babe, she will come, and then you do the thing, and then she goes home. But the reality, the reality. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I was supporting what you were saying, that the reality is that you are human, your wife is human, and there are also other many human factors that will come into play. Like Mr. Chuk said, if you are already horny and a 7-year-old child walks in, even your toddler that is 2 years old or 3 years old, you automatically lose interest and want to pay attention to that child. Right. Yeah. So there are usually many factors. It's not like we don't get to have as much sex or great sex in marriage, but it's not as the everyday thing that we thought it was going to be as bachelors.
Exactly.
Like, finally, it's going to just be that everyday thing and it's going to be banger to banger. No, because many factors could just happen, right? At your work, you may be stressed at work, you may have some parenting issues, your child may be sick, and at that particular time, and all your emotions, especially as a man, gets to be that. Thank you so much. So, Mr. Davidson, I would like to ask, in addition to even the, can you hear me, Mr. Davidson? Hello. Okay. Ekpo, you can hear me, right?
Muted. I can hear you very well.
Oh, great. Okay, thanks. So, Mr. Davidson, I would like to ask, like, have you ever, this is not so sex related, but although we still come to sex related, you still have other people. Have there been times that you actually felt that loneliness, and how did you have to deal with it? Like that loneliness, like, guy, I'm supposed to have my full family around me now. I'm supposed to be having, my 3 kids, my 4 kids, my 5 kids, my 10 kids, and the rest. How do you get to handle and deal with that loneliness?
Wow, that loneliness is very real. Yeah, and it comes here and now. To be very honest, it comes here and now. But when that happens, one of the things I personally do is to get into communication with my partner and just have a good conversation. It gives me that sense of.
So by saying partner, you say that other people should not shoot their shots.
Come again?
By saying partner, I call my partner and the rest. Are you trying to say that other people should not shoot their shots?
Please. Please, don't put me on the spot. Anyways, as I was saying, yeah, another thing I also do is, God has given us good family. Like, I have a very supportive family. I mean, my nuclear family, before I start my own family. So I have conversations with my family as well. And also I have really great friends that I have conversations with, male and female, and we can just, where we can just talk about realities like this, and also important thing is that these are also Christian friends that you can actually be a bit vulnerable to say how you're feeling, and you're not just put away, or your feelings are not dismissed. So I have friends that I talk to
Yeah.
in certain low moments like that, and they're able to also share with me and counsel me and encourage me, to help me feel better in that moment. And it's just a moment, but ultimately, I try not to let such feelings overwhelm me, because I know it's a process, it's a
Yes.
phase, and I'm
Yeah.
maximizing it. I am really maximizing it. I'm
Of course.
grateful that I'm maximizing it.
I, I,
Building
I,
my
I am proud of the
career,
fact.
building,
I'm proud of the fact that you are
yeah.
maximizing it. I'm proud of the fact that you are maximizing it and you are taking advantage of it, full advantage of it. Because of time, permit me to just be cutting in here and there. So, Emmanuel Echo, I would like to ask, especially for someone like you who gets to be um, a music director, you people get to also face most special sexual temptations, because right now you're in the limelight. People, any person that comes to church every Sunday will get to see you, whether you want to show yourself or you don't want to show yourself. They just have to see you out there. So you get to be in a position where you are in that top. You know, when they are drawing lists, they'll say the top 3 of men are the ones that always get all the babes. All the babes are always attracted to those ones. And those of us that are down, those that are in a sanctuary, those that are in sanctuary, those that are in welfare, people don't see them, people don't know them, and the rest. So I would just like to ask just two questions. How is it like for you managing that kind of pressure based on your job, right? Because that job now exposes you to such sexual and sexual advances, vulnerability, or let me use sexual vulnerability, romantic vulnerability. How do you get to handle all of that? And secondly, how do you get to handle the fact that oh, you may sometimes feel depressed and feel lonely and feel insufficient because you are a bachelor? How do you get to handle things like that?
Okay, thank you. These things are real. There are real challenges that come in with um being a bachelor and being in such positions. However, Jesus said something. He says, Let him that thinketh he standeth take heed lest he falls. Take heed. So the key word there is take heed. The only way you survive is to take heed. The only way you don't pray it away. You don't use speaking in tongues to pray it away. All right. The only way I'm able to survive is to take heed. Take heed here means you have to be careful. Somebody says something here right now, and even my pastor, Dr. Andy Osakwe, is always hammering on this thing. Set boundaries. Set boundaries. Some of these things do not respond to your speaking in tongues. They would respond to the setting of boundaries, because you will be amazed what you can end up finding yourself doing if you do not set boundaries with all your anointing, with all your gifting, with all of that. So I think the key word there is take heed. Let he that thinketh is standard. You see, that's the false assumption that because you are anointed or because you are all of these, and you think falsely that you are always strong. All right. So you have to set boundaries and always take it. The taking heed part starts from your mind, the way you think, your thoughts, what you allow fly in here. You understand? You have to. All right, you were with me in Makodi. I was music director then in Makodi. It's the same principle. It's the same life, because
Yeah.
the pressure will not stop. And I believe that you married people right now, I don't really think the pressure is really stopping.
No, it
All
does
right,
not. It
you,
does not.
every other person,
Not
is
in
is
any
not,
way.
is not, is
Not in
not
any
right.
way.
It's not,
We don't. We
it's not
don't.
stopping.
We don't have lesser temptations. We don't have lesser temptations than you guys that are
Exactly.
single. We do not.
Exactly.
We have exactly.
Exactly.
In fact, there are times. Sorry to interrupt you. There are times that
Yeah.
I want to go out to some places and the rest, and my wife actually tells me to drop my wedding ring, right? Because if I go to those particular places, if I go to those particular circles with my wedding ring, I'm going to be more vulnerable. I'm going to be more exposed to the kind of babes and ladies that are there. So it's rather I just remove my wedding ring and just be like one other guy. So when I'm like one other guy, they just rate me based on the way I'm dressed. They just rate me based on the way I'm dressed and dressed. But the moment you put a wedding ring, there's an automatic point you gain. There's an automatic point.
The
There are
ring
some
is
points you
detached.
gain. You automatically you are a very responsible human being, so you have gotten that point.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
Exactly. Exactly.
it's
So
part of
so
it.
so 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 we just have to take heed. All right, take heed.
Mm.
Don't fool yourself. Don't overrate yourself like that. Don't fool yourself that you are that strong. Don't fool yourself there. That these things can be very, 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 very tricky. So the word there is, let he that thinketh his standard take heed. Take it. The way to escape is to take it. Paul said, flee. Flee is the eldest brother of run. It's not, it is a pray. It is a pray. It is a have a conversation about this, is a discuss it. He said flee. So I think that's the way to deal with that. Or let me say that's the way I have been trying my best by the help of the Holy Ghost. Now I must add this part. By the help of the Holy Ghost. Oh, by the help of the Holy Ghost. Self-discipline is not enough. The Holy Ghost helps you at times by prompting you that you see this thing you are doing right now, the end product is like this. So you better stop now before it gets bad and gets crazy at the end of the day. Now, let me answer the second one because of time. You talked about the fact of depressive times and all of those things. How do you, how do I get to deal with that? Well, I have to, number one, watch my thoughts. This thing is a phase. You see that depression feeling? You see that feeling of loneliness? You see that is a phase. Have you noticed that at times, these your emotions that you are dealing with, at times, it's not always there every time, 247. At times, it's like this. And at times, it changes. It's so fickle. It's so fickle. It's never so stable. So first, remember that what you are feeling right now will not always be there. So do not make a permanent decision over a temporary emotion. Do not make a permanent action. Don't carry out a permanent action over a temporal emotion that is likely going to
True.
pass after a while. You understand? Then
I get it.
secondly,
I get
I
it.
you I would have to add this part. We have to just, I think the Holy Ghost is really underrated. We have to lean on the Holy Ghost. He is called helper because we need help. He is called
And
helper because we need help.
And
Yes.
there's something that I also say. There's something that Davidson mentioned a while ago. We also have to look for that support system that share the same values with us, that share the same God values with us, that share the same family values with us, that share the same life values with us. People who, if we, like I am down. Of course, there were many times even when I was single that I was down, and you're just horny and you just want to chat. Like, who are those cousins you could chat with? Who are those friends you can chat with? Who are, I usually say something, I say this to many single people, who are the people of the opposite sex that you can be safe around, right? So that you do not even expose yourself to people who will take advantage
Yeah.
of your vulnerability per time. Like, who are they safe? Are there people that you can beat your chest on, right? You can beat your chest. Oh man, I wish I can go on and go on, but time is already gone. So I'll be going to Echina to just give us what are your final words that you want to give to fellow guys who are bachelors. One, and coming around to everybody now. One, the final words you want to give to fellow guys who are also bachelors, and two, to the society out there on how they should treat you guys that are bachelors.
Okay, thank you very much. And it's been a very expository one, to be very honest. At this point, I will consider it a privilege to even be sitting on this round table. I'll put it that way. But I'll take
Oh, it's like we have lost a chair. Okay. Before he comes up, okay, Souls, what would you like to say? What would be your final words, sir?
Okay. The final word is um it just me for me, the bachelorhood and the perils of bachelorhood is just like a mindset. Apostle Victor Atokolo said mindset is the setting of the mind, and once your mind is set, it sets every other part of your body. That means that the
Can anyone
bachelorhood
hear
that
me?
you think, sorry.
Yes, we
Yes, we
can
can
hear
hear you. We'll
you.
come back to you. We'll come back to you, sir. Let's just continue with Souls. We'll
Oh,
come back to
sorry,
you,
my
Chief. Yes.
Okay. So
Okay.
Once you have a mindset pertaining something, you have set every part of your every area of your life towards that thing.
Mm,
So, and once your mind is made up, that's how the Bible says, "As a man thinketh, so is he."
mm.
Hallelujah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. Oh, Eche, are you still there? Can you hear me? Okay, pending when he comes back, I would like to ask Dr. Tale Davison, my very own guy.
Yeah. Yes, brother.
So, what will be your final say? What will be your final counsel today to bachelors who are out there, and also to people, how people should relate, perceive, and interact with bachelors?
All right. You know this saying where they say think outside the box. For me, there is no box. Like there is no box at all. In the same vein, about all of this perception, all of these notions, all of these ideologies,
Mm,
they were just thought patterns of humans, and we've pretty much allowed these thinking patterns to frame or give us a framework or a standard of how our life should be. You should be married by this time. You should be doing this by this time. Nobody say, "Oh, you should be dying by this time. You should be sick by this time." It's not a one-way street, right? So every person, every person have their own, life standard and life path and
mm,
purpose, and I mean, we're entitled to walk our own pace. So I think the pressure should just reduce already, and we should respect one another, and we should be more gracious to one another with our questioning, with our expectations, with all the things we say to ourselves, because pretty much many people have gone into this same marriage thing and rushed out of it. Many people have lost their lives, you know, just because of marriage. We have talented, gifted ministers that have lost their lives from this same marriage. So even the Christian folks are, we are not left out of the troubles with marriage. So I think more emphasis should rather be getting it right with marriage,
yeah.
not just the pressure of get married. When I get married, getting married right at the right time to the right person, and in the right frame of mind. I think that should be priority, and that would be my last words. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Before I come to the final words of Emmanuel Ekpo and that of Eche, I would like to tell everyone who is watching right now, if you followed us till now and you've not yet subscribed, kindly subscribe, share this video so that your friends can also watch it. And before the last two people give us their final words, I would like to inform us that next week, Thursday, here we'll be talking about newly married men, right? Newly married men. And we are going to be having some amazing men who also have gotten married and how they were able to handle the first years of their marriage. Interestingly, on Monday, my marriage will be 5 years, right? So I'm also part of the newly married men. Thank you. It's not easy. It has not been easy, but we have done it. We have done it. We have done it successfully, and the rest. So
I'm
we
proud
talk.
of you, bro. I'm proud of you,
Yeah,
man.
thank you, thank you.
You're
So
doing
we
well, bro.
also
You're
become.
doing well. Celebrate you.
Thank you, thank you. So, Mr. Eche, what will be your final words regarding your counsel to fellow bachelors and also to people on how people relate with you guys, including even how babes get to see you people?
Okay, I'm just going to rush because my network, I've been really struggling, and I'm sorry about that. What I was saying before it cut me short was, first of all, I wanted to start from the statement you made, the last statement you made before you gave us the rule, where you said, um, are there ladies that you can beat your chest and say, look, these ones I can be vulnerable around these ones, and so nothing can happen. I can beat my chest. My honest response to that is no, no. To be on the safe side, no. What we take from I realize that a lot of us here are Christians, and I've been trying to also come from a general perspective so that even the Muslims, the Buddhists, everybody you know, can understand. But then I know that one of the greatest leaders, Jesus, of course, in his time surrounded himself with male, and there was a reason why. Okay, he surrounded himself with male, and there was no female, as it were, in his inner circle, and then he will never move around with those things, with those other, the opposite sex, for reasons best known to him. But now we're discovering that look, your best friend can all of a sudden, the shoulder to cry on, can suddenly, and then by the time you're done, you're in awe of what you did. Like my friend Emmanuel also said, he hits the nail on the head, and there's no need to even overflog the matter. We all know what the truth is, and it is the fact that discipline becomes the word that we must imbibe. Discipline, discipline. There's nothing else. I don't really have anything to say apart from that. And to give the bachelors out there, to let us know that I was in a meeting and they were discussing stuff like this, and it was a Christian. For me to say, I'm sorry about that. And um, the guy said it's okay to test before you get married. You know what I'm talking about? To test women to know at least if they can, if we had time and we begin to open these things. You see, there are many angles to it. The guy said, look, you have to test to be sure. What if you eventually get married to her and then she can't give birth? So you have to test this one. You have to also test this one to know whether she will satisfy you like that. And I asked him, how many are you going to test before you finally buy? And all that. And then the conversation continued. If we take the story of Adam, Adam was there. He was very busy pursuing his purpose. I think he was one of our married guests, Mr. Souls. He was very busy pursuing purpose. He was very busy. It was the creator's idea that look, you need a helper. There's somebody that you need to help you. And oh, really? Okay, why not? If not, all right. So I feel for bachelors, we must continue to pursue things that God has already given to us in line with our purpose, whatever it is, man. If it is career, I hear us talking a lot about the end is marriage. Well, I was asking myself, is it really the end? Really, is it what we focus on as bachelors or waiting for the time we'll eventually get married? I don't completely agree. That would eventually happen, and by God's grace, one of us mentioned that some were born Enoch, some made themselves Enoch, and all of that. I think those things are things that will naturally, come to play as we continue to develop in our chosen fields of endeavor. I believe a point in time, it will get to a point in time, and you will just, there's a conviction you're going to get that, look, oh, I think it is time to procreate, it's time to raise godly seeds and all of those things. So yeah, to deal with the sexual urges, there is no other way. There is no other way. There's no other way. One person said flee. There's no long and short of it. All right. Some people are not going to agree to this, but if they are listening and they will come back to this video, podcast, whatever, sometime later. Look, sex does is not even a religious thing now. The disadvantages of sex, sexual relations before you get married, they are more than just somebody you thinking someone is trying to get you to be religious. There's that part, but there are other aspects. What it destroys, how it destroys your marriage. I counsel. I'm a counselor. I've been doing that for such a long time. Even as a bachelor, so I get married people coming and then you hear their stories and you're like, oh my God, is this even true? Why am I even listening to these things? One told me right now is a matter that we're dealing with. He's not able to, all of a sudden, he's having erectile dysfunction. And he went ahead to tell me, like, I know what it is, sir. I know what it is. I engaged in so many things before I got married. I was doing all sorts. And now medically, they're now showing me that look, over doing this and doing that will cause this. So I feel that's it. So pray for me. So let's get involved in therapy and all of that. We can avoid all of those things. Time has passed, and I think I will just leave it here. Thank you very much. Nice to meet you, Iman. Nice to meet you, um, Davidson.
Davidson,
Oh, thank you very much.
thank you. Ekpo, just one sentence. Just one sentence, because I allowed you to talk plenty before. Just one sentence. Just one
All right,
sentence. If you say more than one sentence,
all
I'll
right.
cut you off.
Trust the Holy Ghost in this process and learn from this process before you get married. That's all I have to say. Trust the Holy Ghost in this process and learn from this process as a bachelor. Actually, I said some amazing things. Learn. Let's learn. Guys, let's learn. Let's learn before we actually cross over into becoming married men. Trust the Holy Ghost. All your issues, the Holy Ghost is pointing them at you right now, so you can begin to deal with them before you cross over to the other side. Because some of the things you are having right now, if you don't fix them, they'll be your problem tomorrow for the rest of your life. They'll be your problem. tomorrow for the rest of your life. So he said one sentence. I don't know if I, I don't know if I said that one sentence.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing with us. And lastly, before I go, once again, if you're not yet subscribed, kindly subscribe and share, hit the notification so that you know when we come live. Next week, Thursday, 8 p.m., we'll be back here on another topic, newly married men. We'll be focusing on men and the first 1, 2, 3 years of your marriage, the things you get to face. And if you're a bachelor out there right now, I want to let you know something, that your life does not revolve only around marriage. Marriage is just but an aspect right now. And the way you handle every other aspect of your life is also the reality you will face by the time you get married, right? So if you're a bachelor right now, as many things as you can achieve, achieve it, right? If you have to borrow to achieve those things, borrow to achieve those things. If you have to travel to achieve those goals, if you have to, this may be one of the easiest time you can stay under a mentor. I don't care whether the person is, now the people I'm picking up as mentors are people that I'm older than, right? I don't want to pick any person older than me now. It's now old school. Those who are 20 and below are the owners of this world now. They are the ones taking over the world and the rest. So they should be my one. They should be the one to mentor me in the new world that is coming. I have the wisdom of the old world to share with them, right? So if you're a bachelor, use that time. Don't spend that time like some of us who spent the time traveling. And all we have to record is that we traveled a lot, we traveled a lot, we traveled a lot, right? So if there are other things you can achieve, if there are money disciplines you can achieve, if there are investment lessons you need to learn, if there are things you need to learn, social interactions, developing yourself, and don't feel pressured. Yes, I want you to get married and I want you to get married early. But if you're not yet ready for it, continue living that life that you are living until you are ready. Thank you so much. My name is El, and I'm reaching you guys from Davidson's from Abuja, Ekwe is from Abuja. Eche, where are you reaching us from? Um, I do not know which city you're reaching us from. Eche,
I'm from Lagos. I'm from Lagos.
oh, so you and Chijoke joined us from Lagos, and Mr. Chooks joined us from Australia. Thank you guys for coming. My name is Ed, and I'm all right. Most importantly, you rock. Thank you